By Democratic Congresswoman Jackie Speier of California, member of the House Armed Services Committee and Oversight and Government Reform Committees. Congresswoman, let me start there with where Perry just left off. Is that a question that we'll ever really get the answer to? Did these tactics work?
I think that Senator Feinstein made it clear that they did not. 6 million pages of documentation her staff reviewed, looking very deeply into the kinds of techniques that were used and what was the information that they garnered from those techniques, and they were very clear that they did not receive any information. In fact, most of the information they received was from persons not being subject to the torture.
But what do you so what then do you make of the claims from the other side, even former CIA directors, former Vice President Dick Cheney, all of these folks who insist that some of these tactics, while grotesque, according to you, they did in fact yield results? What do you make of those claims?
Well, I would basically say consider the source. They're responsible for the use of these techniques, so of course they're going to defend them. Let's give credit to Senator Feinstein, who has really gone up against a lot of powerful interests in making this report public. And we know what we know today because she stood firm, and before she loses her chairmanship of the Intelligence Committee, wanted to get this information out.
I want to get your take on something else. The CIA, obviously, at this point, bearing the brunt of all of this, but as you know, it wasn't just the CIA. I mean, the DOD was involved. The Justice Department, to an extent, signed off on all of this. Is the CIA being scapegoated here to a certain extent? Why haven't some of these other agencies and individuals as well? Why have they not also been publicly brought into all of this?
I think the reason why the focus has been on the CIA is because they were asked questions over and over again, was torture being used, and they denied it. And you have a responsibility as an agent of this country to respond to those who are in power, whether it's the President of the United States or the Congress of the United States. Certainly others are at fault here. Alberto Gonzalez at the time was suggesting that this was all acceptable conduct, and it clearly was not.
You issued a statement calling the revelations from yesterday's report, quote, grotesque. What part of the summary shocked you most?
Every single page had something in the executive summary that shocked me. Whether it was the rehydration anally or the holding people, keeping them sleep deprived for 180 hours with their hands over their heads and shackled. I mean, that is not what this country is about, and we've got to shut this down. Should
the agency issue an apology?
Absolutely.
What's the likelihood at this point, you think, of that actually happening?
You know, there's an arrogance that exists within the CIA that has to be reined in. And I would certainly hope that they would recognize that with some soul searching that they have got to come clean on this. How can the CIA have eavesdropped on the Intelligence Committee of the Senate and get away with it? They are not above the law.
Congresswoman Jackie Speier of California. Congresswoman, thanks as always.
Thank you.